because sometimes I do get tired of explaining everything. But it is glad to see old faces. Thank you everyone for joining. And the first phase of today's reading session is being graced by this wonderful piece that has been submitted by Miss Jan. I'm really sorry I forgot her name. It was Prashvi or something like that. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, it's Parshvi Jain. It's
Prashvi
written
Jain.
on the title.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It's on the title. Parshvi Jain. Parshvi, not Prashvi. Parshvi. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, this piece titled "The Flight of Hope" is submitted by Parshvi Jain, and of course, this was for Ink. What you think? Okay. Hello, Shadow. Thank you for joining, buddy. Let's see what she has written about. This is not a poem, rather a prose. Okay, and it sort of goes like this. That, and you can see the image: a paper plane. The twilight sky unfolded like a symphonic overture, an intricate interplay of molten amber and azure whispers, each hue a nuanced contradiction. Serene, yet fervently dynamic. Beneath this vast liminal expanse stood Sarah, her silhouette etched in chiaroscuro, chiaroscuro, a corporeal embodiment of yearning and introspection. In her unsteady grasp rested a paper plane, a deceptively fragile construct imbued with profound symbolic weight, a repository of aspirations shaped in the silent crucible of hope's resilience. Her hesitation was palpable, the tension in her fingers betraying an unspoken resistance, as though the act of release symbolized acquiescence to life's inherent unpredictability. Her thoughts meandered to a sepia toned past, an epoch where her laughter resonated with the cadence of wind chimes, and the horizon was an unfettered expanse of potential suffused with the golden luminescence of unblemished optimism. Yet, the inexorable passage of time, the consummate usurper, had supplanted this idyllic vision with the burdensome inertia of monotony. In this ephemeral, in this ephemeral interstice, however, a subtle transformation occurred. A quiet, ineffable stirring evoked by the crescent moon's spectral radiance as it reclined upon the horizon. The whispering breeze seemed to conspire with the cosmos, compelling her toward relinquishment. Drawing a breath imbued with the weight of unarticulated longing, she released the plane. I wavered momentarily, an ephemeral falter before ascending with audacious defiance. A diminutive entity confronting the immeasurable vastness of the bruised heavens. Her gaze followed its trajectory, her spirit tethered to its ascent by imperceptible filaments of hope and desire. The plane transcended its material simplicity, emerging as a poignant metaphor for resistance against despair, a delicate yet unyielding artifact navigating the currents of uncertainty with a grace that bordered on the sublime. As the plane ascended, its flight ignited a latent ember with Sarah, a visceral reminder of the indomitable capacity of even the faintest spark to dispel the most profound darkness. The horizon, once perceived as a mere boundary, now revealed itself as an invitation to transcendence. Resolute, she resolved to reclaim her aspirations, to rise above the stasis of doubt and embrace the transformative potential of vulnerability, much like a child in their pursuit of fireflies learns to dance with the night. When the paper plane finally dissolved into the obscurity of dusk, its journey crystallized into an inedible promise that amidst the infinite expanse of existence, the human spirit possesses an unparalleled capacity to ascend, weaving constellations of meaning and purpose, grounded yet soaring. Sarah reconciled herself with the paradox of release, understanding that to relinquish is often to reclaim the essence of one's being. Even the most delicate vessel, when propelled by conviction, can chart an extraordinary trajectory towards infinite or infinity. So, this was written by uh, Parshvi Jain, The Flight of Hope. Um, I There are a few things that I would like to talk about, but before that, I would definitely like to exactly Abhishek Bhaiya, that particular line I just wanted to talk about, a child who in the pursuit of fireflies learns to dance with night. I think that is indeed the breakout line. I think that is the only line in the whole piece that I could sort of, I feel a common man would be able to relate. And I'm pretty sure that Miss Jan has a great vocabulary. I'm pretty sure she has a great vocabulary. But as a reader, I feel probably this particular piece might raise a lot of questions. But I before uh, talking about those things, I would like to explore the crux a little bit. Given that this session is recorded, so I think we can talk about few things. Uh, Prior to going to the crux, going to those ember like questions, the glaring questions that comes up after reading such a piece. Okay, so the first thing I would like to talk about is the core of the piece. Actually, not only talks about hope, but I would like to tell a tiny little incident before starting the discussion part. Today itself in the evening, I was talking to Swarn, and we were talking about something, and we were talking about one particular phrase, to hold on to. I think Swan would remember, to hold on to. And I was suggesting that the phrase to hold on to suggests something optimistic, that you are holding on to something, you're holding on to your beliefs, you're holding on to your morals, you're holding on to your mantra. Because I think everyone looks for a pillar, for a monument to hold on to. But then Swan mentioned that many a times to hold on to might mean something pessimistic as well. Suppose you're holding on to something which is not good for you. Probably, there are many a times when you will be, holding on to a person who doesn't want to be with you. They will be hurting you in every possible way, yet you are not able to, leave them. So I think Parshvi actually talks about that thing explicitly when she's talking about letting that paper plane go, right? She's relinquishing. She says that understanding that to relinquish is often to reclaim the essence of one's being. So sometimes one has to let go of many things to reclaim what they are for real, right? So not only Miss Jan beautifully talks about hope, but she also talks about letting go of things. So I would like to ask all of you, have you ever in your life tried to let go of something, and If you did, and how was the like what was the consequence? Did you find any positivity in the consequence? Would Who would like to start? Abhishek Bhaiya, would you like to start?
If you want to, first of all, am I audible? Uh,
Absolutely, you're
like,
audible, crystal
yeah.
clear. Yeah.
Uh, First of all, if you want to know about my viewpoint about this piece, then I believe that uh, my initial reaction, some of you might agree that it was as if I was reading some Shashi Tharoor's piece. I mean, the kind of, yeah, it's a frank, and if I don't want to put it in a bad sense, but the thing is, it's said in literature that the clarity of thought or the delivery of thought should be simple. The audience or the reader should relate. That's why I said that the breakout line, I 100% agree with you that that line, this child who in his pursuit of fireflies learns to dance with the night. Of course, I can relate to it. I have done this. I can relate to it. But the starting line or the too much metaphors and too much similes, that I frankly do not relate to. Anyhow, the thing is, your question was the act of letting go. The- It's a survival instinct. Yes, if we want to survive, we have to let it go. On many occasions, there are many unfinished business. We are taught that we have to. Of course, our mind is trained that yeah, or primed to go after unfinished business. But there occurs after you come to realize that after a certain stage, it's better to let it go if you want to survive, if you want to enjoy life, if you want to live life. So, I mean, uh, I believe that the act of letting go is critical. And if you want explicit examples, then yes, in my case, the act of uh, letting go, the act of letting go of the thought that I will get back, I will I will have my revenge upon people who had done wrong things with me. With maturity, I realized that sometimes it's better to let it go. If you want your peace, if you want to appreciate the life, if you don't want to kill yourself, then it's better to let it go. So it's one of the examples I'm giving, and I hope that I can contribute more examples as this discussion grows. Okay, so please continue.
Bhaiya, you said a very good thing about that probably when one is younger they would have this taste for vengeance, right? But as one goes on and one grows mature, they find more things coming into their lives. Then, like, I have heard this phrase thrown around बहुत ज़्यादा, but I never understood the value of it. But I would like to understand this from your perception that they say that कभी भी अगर रिवेंज की बात आती है, जैसे मान लीजिए जैसे एक एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ, जैसे मान लीजिए आप चाह रहे हो कि किसी को बहुत आई वांट टू बीट द स्नॉट आउट ऑफ दिस गाय, बट देन योर बेस्ट फ्रेंड कम्स और अ फ्रेंड समवन who is a good Samaritan, they come and they tell you that no, Abhishek, this is not worth it, this is not worth your time. So, like, what do you think worth it? Like, where does worth come from in that context? What do you think?
Uh, I believe that as a as I often have answered, means the definition of worthiness Actually, it itself varies with time. At what point of life, at what stage of life you are in. I mean, if someone has hurt you, and the thing is, if you can do something about it at that moment, then yes, uh, you do it. But if there is something that at that moment you cannot do anything about it, and that thing has dented you, has is causing inconvenience to you so much that you are losing your sleep, you have lost your appetite or kind of thing, then I would say that yes, you need to see a counselor, or you need to discuss the same with your friends. uh, I mean, if you want to do it, in this case, a typical example, just what you raised, that suppose किसी ने आपको मारा जब आप when you were what 20 something, and you were hit by someone, a group of 20 somethings, like a typical what quarrel in college or in canteen, when you were 20 year or 20 somethings, and and imagine a fight you occurred when you are with your family, and there you encounter some miscreants. So naturally your priorities change. When you were 20 something, you were not caring about anyone. You just wanted to take decision instantly and be done with that. But when you are 40 something, and when you encounter some miscreant, your priorities remain that uh, the people you care about, they must be safe at your own cost. You seldom care about yourself at that point. So at that point, there is very high probability that you will let it go. I mean, uh, I think in previous discussion there was one example. कभी मैंने या कहीं शायद कहीं सुना भी था कि a man who was slapped in front of his child by some I mean say 40 something man, and still uh, at that moment he chose to let it go. Yes, because in his adolescence वो उसको सबक सिखाता, but चूंकि वहाँ पे फैमिली है, he chose to let it go just because for the safety of his what his folks. And also uh, in our popular literature it is said that if you want to, if you can do something about it, he definitely does something. But in majority of the cases, as a common man I'm telling that ऐसा situation आता नहीं है. You have to learn to accept it and let it go. ऐसा होता है. And you have to learn to live with the faith that something in the future you will get the chance that कभी आप you will get the chance to get even. So I believe in my personal experience, the, there are many unfinished businesses in our life, and we have to learn to live with them. We don't have capability to finish every unfinished business, and this is the fact of life. अभी आप लोग को ये बात लगेगी कि you are young, you will win the world, you will win the race, but gradually you will realize that life is not a race. This is not a battle to be won. This is about accepting, and this is about realizing what kind of battles you choose to pick. This is equally important, and this is the act of letting go. Learn to choose your battles carefully.
Thank you, Abhishek Bhaiya. Bhaiya made a really great point, and probably, like he also added to this relinquishing thing, or the ability and the strength to letting go of things. He added a point to that as well. That we have to acknowledge the fact that probably one cannot win the world, right? One can try, one can get many things while trying, but it is not possible to win the whole world, right? I mean, you understand the sense. I mean, it's not like, don't take it literally, right? So, but at the same time, the fact of, the fact that you can let go of that uh, aspiration and be kind to yourself and gentle to yourself, I think that is also a really strong thing to do. Sneha says that what about not letting go of people, things, places, or situations, even when they are kind of not suitable, or are holding the person back? Or I feel, and people, this is like you guys can answer any of the questions that are being asked in the chat box. If you feel that you can turn the mic on, you can clearly do that. Okay. So I feel what Sneha has asked regarding, I think Sneha, one thing is that अगर कई बार क्या होता है ना, when you hold on to something and there is no betterment, if you feel that like uh, आई मीन देखिए, अब जैसे एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ, लाइक सो आई हैड टू मूव आउट ऑफ माय हाउस फॉर माय मास्टर्स डिग्री, राइट? I didn't want to move out of my house. I didn't want to stay away from my parents. It's not like I cannot stay alone. It's not like I cannot look after myself. I can. मैंने पोछा मारा है, मैंने झाड़ू मारा है, मैंने बर्तन धोए हैं, मैंने बाथरूम धोया, I can do everything. But it's just that you don't want to stay away from your loved ones. But if I hadn't done it, maybe I wouldn't have been here with you guys today, right? So I think one has to let go of things to at least move on, because कई बार ना stagnation आ जाता है, and stagnation, no kind of stagnation is good, brother. No amount of stagnation is good, not at all. So maybe that is why. And not about a person, well, I think that is heavily subjective. I mean, I feel if someone loves you a lot, and this is again just an opinion, it is my perspective, I could be wrong. If you know that a person loves you, you must not leave them. You must hold on to them. If you know they love you for sure, देन यू मस्ट होल्ड देम, नो मैटर कितने भी वो झलने हो, या फिर कितने भी आपसे गरीब हो, या कितने भी आपसे पिछड़े हो, ठीक है, करियर वाइज हो या पैसों के उसमें हो, कुछ भी हो, ठीक है, शायद ढंग से बात करना ना आता हो, शायद तौर तरीके ज्यादा अच्छे से ना आते हो, पर अगर आपको पता है कि वो इंसान आपसे सही में प्यार करता है, और यहाँ पे प्यार किसी भी तरह का प्यार हो सकता है, वो अगर आपसे सच्ची में प्यार करता है, सो वन मस्ट होल्ड ऑन टू सच अ पर्सन. आई वुड बिकॉज आई हैव बिन लकी कि मुझे कभी ऐसा, एंड आई एम प्रीटी श्योर हम सब भी ने यही चीज फॉलो की है कि कभी भी अगर हमने दोस्ती की है तो वी हैव नेवर सीन एट देयर स्टेटस क्वो और समथिंग. वी हैव बिन फ्रेंड्स विद पीपल जस्ट बिकॉज दे वर नाइस टू अस, एंड आई थिंक we should hold on to such people. So I think that covers places and people. Things, well, it again depends on what is your attachment with that. So yeah, I think it is heavily subjective, Sneha. That question is definitely a good one. A really broad question, covers a lot of things, but I think it is heavily subjective. But then again, if somebody or something loves you for real, one should make sure that they should um, keep on holding on to them. Anusha says, I think it's also that anger hurts you more than the person on the receiving end. So it's not worth the pain it causes you. I think yeah, sometimes Anusha, it is necessary to put some people at their places, because many a times when you're nice to people, they think that is your weakness. So nobody should be fighting. Nobody should be hurting anyone. It shouldn't go anyway. Okay? It's not a two-way street, not a one-way street. Nobody should be hurting anyone, right? But at the same time, there are certain people who probably don't understand that there's a line to be drawn, and many a times one has to put them on a leash because um, you cannot treat rabies. Rabid animals had to be put down. So sometimes one has to put few people on leash. So I mean, of course, then again, one doesn't have to be all intimidating every time that like an anime villain. Whenever you are coming to the scene, some scary choir music is running behind you, and I mean played behind you. That shouldn't be the thing. You should be nice. You should be a good person, but at the same time, if if comes to shove, you should be able to take care of the situation.
इसमें means to add to Satyaki point, it means regarding the necessity to put the people in their place, so-called rabid animals, there is an apt saying. I mean, this will suffice that the people will respect you only when. I think you must have heard this saying in textbooks. क्षमा शोभती उस भुजंग को जिसके पास गरल हो उसको क्या जो विषहीन विनीत सरल हो.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yes, I think the act of letting go should not be confused with the act of being timid.
Absolutely. अभिषेक भैया आपने बहुत सही बात कही एंड आई रिमेम्बर दिस वाज सेड बाय समवन आई थिंक दिस वाज said by Shell Mahajan. So for those who don't know, Shell is like Shell was previously a part of the Sahityaka Council. If you guys know Shell, he's one of the sweetest boys you'll ever meet, not only in this degree but on the whole planet. A really nice boy, really polite boy, soft spoken, well educated, smart, really nice guy. And he's like a brother to me. And if you guys ever get a chance to meet him or talk to him, super boy, super boy. I can spend an hour talking good things about him. Nevertheless, so the thing that Abhishek bhaiya said in one of our events called Dinkar Ki Pratiksha, which was again FII, it was my last event, the last event that I organized, because then I retired. So in Dinkar Ki Pratiksha, Shell had said the same thing that Abhishek Bhaiya just mentioned. That you should be able to do it, but at the same time, it's not necessary to do it all the time. Like, Bhaiya, could you kindly probably write it down in the chat box? I think you would be better able to translate it in English. I would probably butcher the crux of the thing. I mean the
I mean,
yeah. Bhaiya.
what people actually, the thing is, you know it that there is nothing called perfect translation. I mean, people they I think bearing one or two, most of us can appreciate this saying. But
Right, right.
so I will put the saying in the chat box, and I mean, there is nothing called 100% translation. So I also don't think that I will be able to do justice to it. I will put the saying in chat box.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh,
So while Bhaiya is doing that, it basically says that you should be able to forgive, you should be able to forget, you should be able to move on. Okay, all those virtues should be there in you. But at the same time, when it comes to protect the innocent, when it comes to fighting for those who cannot fight for themselves, you must be the first one to step in. Okay, you should be able to hurt, but you should never hurt. Like Uncle Ben tells Peter, right, that with great power comes great responsibility. Sneha says, अरे ये सब नहीं, if the person is holding back the other person. अच्छा नहीं नहीं, फिर तो लात मारो, फिर तो लात मारो. इस दुनिया में किसी को हक नहीं है किसी को किसी की डेवलपमेंट से रोकने का, फिर लात मारो. Simple. If somebody is stopping you from moving forward for your dream, and of course, like something that is good for you, है ना? If you want to educate yourself more, if you want to learn an art, if you want to travel more, and if somebody is stopping you from following such dreams, lat maro. But of course, if they are your parents, of course, then आप उन्हें समझाओ. Parents, of course, इन चीजों में we cannot include parents, right? So parents are a totally different domain. So yeah. Having said that, there's this beautiful line that says that hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. It is a line from a book called The Shawshank Redemption. How many of you have seen Shawshank Redemption? Can I get a Shadow has seen? And he left. He probably went. Abhishek Bhaiya has seen. Shadow has seen and Abhishek Bhaiya has seen. Nobody, I think somebody else has also raised their hand. Anusha has seen. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, so Abhishek Bhaiya has written, क्षमा शोभती उस भुजंग को जिसके पास गरल हो, उसको क्या जो दंतहीन विष रहित विनीत सरल हो. Nice. And guys, speaking of Shawshank Redemption, do you know who's the author of Shawshank Redemption? Don't Google it. If you don't know, it's okay. Yeah, I saw that. Does anybody know who has written Shawshank Redemption? I feel who, yeah, exactly, Stephen King. So Salem Slot, the same writer who has written Shawshank Redemption, has written Salem Slot. And the interesting thing is, he has also written It, right? So every story that Stephen King has written takes place in the same universe. So the vampires, Andy Dufresne, Pennywise, all these characters exist in the same universe. Okay, are the part of the same universe, the Stephen King universe. Or in some cases, it's like a multiverse as well. By the way, Stephen King का multiverse is much more mature. It's not like, कुछ अलग करना हो तो multiverse कर दिया. No, it has its rules. Swan is saying, I have not read anything from Stephen King, but the amount of, oh, he's amazing. If I feel if one wants to start Stephen King, they should definitely start with The Cycle of the Werewolf. Maine, exactly, Sneha. That one town, Maine. Yeah. So, guys, if you want to start with the Cycle of the Werewolf. We had covered the Cycle of the Werewolf long back in the reading sessions, and from that bygone era, we only have one person right now who's here, Abhishek Bhaiya. Abhishek Bhaiya was there when we were doing Cycle of the Werewolf. Beautiful story.
Yes, 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 yes.
Beautiful. Okay, so I think we can end phase one now. Parshvi, thank you for this piece, brother. And one should definitely relinquish everything that is holding them back, and one should definitely try and imbibe hope within them. And as Andy Dufresne said, that hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. And with the spirit of Clark Kent, who is the symbol of hope when he's wearing the red cape, we will be ending this session, and let's hope for a better tomorrow and a better life ahead.